Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bird Notice. Billy here. Leading off, the Maryland Stadium Authority announces plans for a new video board. Kobe Mayo is optioned to AAA, while Matt Bowman is DFA'd and accepts assignment to Norfolk. But Ryan, what episode number is this?
This is episode 77, which was worn by Joe Borowski in his 6 appearances with the Orioles in 1995, his first major league season. He was drafted by the White Sox in the 32nd round in 1989 and was traded to the O's in 1991 for Pete Rose Jr. In December of 95, he was traded to Atlanta in a deal for Kent Mercker. Borowski was waived in 97 and claimed by the Yankees, where he spent 1998. He was in the minors and in Mexico for 99 and 2000, returning to the big leagues with the Cubs in 2001 when he made just one bad start, which would be his only career start in the majors. The next season, he put up a 2.73 ERA and 1.48 ERA plus in the Cubs bullpen, recording his first 2 career saves. He became the Cubs closer in 2003, racking up 33 saves with a 2.63 ERA, and also threw 7 2/3 playoff innings with just 1 earned run. His numbers tanked in 2004, and the season ended in June with a shoulder injury. In spring training in 2005, he broke his wrist on a comebacker that hit him, and he lost his closer job to Ryan Dempster. Borowski signed with Tampa Bay halfway through the 05 season, and then went across Florida to the Marlins in 2006, where he returned to the closer role with 36 saves. His last major league stop was with Cleveland, where he signed before the 2007 season and led the league with 45 saves despite a 5.07 ERA, and finished his major league career there in 2008.
Sneaky good career. I forgot all about that guy. That's funny you mentioned Pete Rose Jr. I was going to bring this up during Media Corner. I watched the Pete Rose documentary series on Max just this past weekend, and that led to me looking up Pete Rose Jr., and I learned he was an Orioles draft pick in the 12th round. But I went to a 2007 Camden River Sharks game against the Long Island Ducks, and Pete Rose Jr. played in that game. So that led me to look up Pete Rose Jr.'s stats from that season. He batted .342 and 453 at-bats as a 37-year-old in the Atlantic League.
That sounds impressive, even for an indie league.
Yeah. But that's a great doc series, that Pete Rose series. I don't even know what it's called, just the Pete Rose.
I might check it out.
Yeah, it's really good.
I feel like I've talked about Borowski before, maybe in like an apology segment like a year ago, but I figured it's probably been long enough. Nobody remembers. But the other 77s were extra boring.
I would have never, when you said his name, I would have never remembered he was like a really good closer too.
Yeah, he was pretty solid. I think I remembered talking about Borowski because I was like, oh yeah. It's like I remembered not remembering him being an Oriole. You know what I mean?
The Pirates and Rangers have started making moves, and the Rockies fired their manager today. The Pirates fired Derek Shelton. The Rangers fired their hitting coach. The Rangers also optioned Jake Berger to AAA. He was one of their, marquee offseason acquisitions. He had the pretty much identical numbers to Ryan Mountcastle when he was optioned last week. So I'm bringing this up because the Orioles are off to this horrible start, and they are making no moves whatsoever. The only thing that's happening is Mike Elias is going on radio shows and podcasts on an apology tour. Would you like to see them do something? Show some urgency?
I would, just as a fan, because it's pretty... I'm trying to think of a word that... I don't know. There's a lot of words you could use, but it's pretty discouraging. I'll use that one. When you're seeing your team struggle and it just seems like the front office and ownership is just out of ideas or not willing to try anything.
The words that came to me this week was shrinking violet. I feel like Elias is a shrinking violet. He just seems content on just turning over the bottom 2 spots on the 40-man and 26-man roster, just making waiver claims for pitching depth, which is something they need to do anyway. Those don't count as moves to fix things. Yeah, it was just frustrating this week. 2 weeks ago, we ended the episode, and I said something like, "We're gonna see some moves here soon," and just nothing, just more of the same. No players are rewarded when they get limited opportunities with the Orioles, like Blewett and Selby and Emmanuel Rivera. We'll see if he survives. Westberg and Urias coming back, but just no sense of urgency. There's no creativity. They're just going through the motions on the field and in the front office.
I was thinking recently again how he was talking about the pitching depth and how he hadn't planned to have to tap into it so early in the season. And it just made me think that the way he said that almost made it sound like, yeah, like they're not supposed to win games. And we just like didn't expect to have to do that so early. But that is not the definition of depth. Like depth is supposed to give you a chance. And when this depth that you have just sucks, I don't see the point of that. You don't have a fifth starter on the roster with no chance to try to win a game. If that was the case, you'd throw a position player every fifth day just to save an arm. Like that just irked me because he was almost saying like, oh, well, these guys aren't good. And like, we didn't expect to have to use them all together at the same time, but that should not be the purpose.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant last week when I compared them to the Predators, where for the Orioles part of that comparison, I said Elias watched this team win 101 games with Gibson, 8 weeks of Grayson, and an unknown Kyle Bradish. And I almost feel like what he took away from that is it's my processes. It's what I'm telling these coaches to teach these players. That's why we're winning these games. And I don't know how you can watch Kyle Gibson and Charlie Morton twice a week in this rotation, then make multiple waiver claims for Luis F. Castillo and Walter Pennington in the same week and defend the draft strategy to the last 6 years. They don't even have guys like Mike Wright, Tyler Wilson, and Bruce Zimmerman. Bad pitching. They don't even have bad pitching knocking on the door to help this out. They are just a barren wasteland of trying to patch this pitching together.
Aside from Brandon Young, have you seen anybody in Norfolk that's not on a rehab start that like might even have a chance of getting called up pitching wise?
Not this year. I did watch a good chunk of the game. I think it was Friday night in Nashville. Cameron Weston pitch, but I don't think he's a real option either. He looked okay. His numbers aren't good.
I don't think I've even heard of him.
Yeah, there's no way I would consider that a real option right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandon Young is currently injured. I don't know if you missed that. That was.
I think I did see that at one point.
Yeah, it's easy for that to fall through the cracks because he's in the minors right now, but he's on the 7-day injured list with a shoulder injury. So who knows if he's coming back?
He got called up to the majors and just got like infected with whatever disease they have to injure everybody.
It's like a shoulder zombie bite. But yeah, every series I see these teams roll out one young pitcher. Andrew Abbott comes to mind. Mitchell Parker in the Nats series, Abbott in the Red series. I won't count Casey Mize because he was a number 1 overall pick. Whoever the hell the pitcher was for the Angels last night, Konovitz. But every series, these teams roll out like a 25-year-old. And I'm just like, is this too much to ask for? Just a 25-year-old with some upside in the pitching? Because Kate Povich is that right now, but he's drowning. Like, and there's no one behind him.
That would be Povich and Rodriguez, I guess.
Yeah, but Rodriguez can't get on the field, and that's no secret. No. Like, it's been like that for 3 years now.
Yeah. I was thinking when you were talking earlier about them making a roster move and instead of churning like the top or the bottom couple spots, maybe trade like a middle of the roster type guy. Like not a star, not like Mullins or Gunnar or something, but just, you know, how they pull the goalie sometimes in a hockey game, not because the goalie's doing bad, but like because the rest of the team sucks and is trying to wake them up. Like something like that. Just a 1-for-1, swap a struggling player for another one on another team and just put people on notice. Like, hey, we're not here to just watch this go down like a sinking ship. We're trying to do something, and we're hoping that people will recognize that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why they pulled the goalie. Like you said, you just got to do something, and they just haven't done anything. It's just they just keep saying like we're going to pull out of this, and it's like really because it's been almost a full calendar year now, and I've seen no signs of pull. The defense I see for the not drafting pitching, they traded for Povich, they traded for McDermott, they traded for Bradish, they selected Tyler Wells in the Rule 5 draft. Like, great. You should have also drafted some pitching to supplement the surplus.
Well, I would also say that none of those guys are that good. Bradish has been, but we don't know what he will be when he returns from injury. But the other three, they're not guys who are going to win you playoff games, in my opinion.
Yeah, you don't have anybody who could potentially turn into a John Means coming through that door. Because John Means was kind of a fluke. They never expected that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, but like to argue that like, oh, they're trading for pitching instead of drafting it, like those to me aren't good examples because they're not very good. It's not like they're trading for Corbin Burns or something.
Right, yeah.
Which they did.
So Elias on his apology tour, he gave Hyde a vote of confidence. And I know it's not his fault this season. At least I feel like it's not. And I've danced around this since the playoffs. I've said that he would be fired. I said that he could be fired. But I never said that he should be fired. I think I'm officially saying that he should be fired. It's not that I want to see him fired. I think it'd be a really cool story to see the journey of a rebuild guy, see this thing through to October success, but it's just hard to envision right now, and they're doing nothing else. So just show me some signs of life.
Well, they did take 2 of 3 from the Angels, who are also garbage. So who knows what that'll look like. But I'd say by the end of May, I'm just looking at the schedule in front of me right now. Through the end of May, they have 3 series at home and 2 on the road. Sorry, 4 at home, 2 on the road. If you're worse than 500 after that, I feel like they have to get rid of him.
Yeah, there's nothing I can say that I feel like would work in his defense anymore.
And I mean worse than 500 through that stretch. Like they'll probably still be worse than 500 record-wise overall. But if they don't at least split the rest of May, I would say you got to change it up.
And he was fireable after the playoffs, but it's probably a good thing that they didn't do that then, because could you imagine the start of this season with a rookie manager or a new manager, just how that would be going over right now? That would be disastrous.
Well, I don't know how much different it would be, though.
Right. I don't think it would be at all. I think they'd be like whatever they are now, 14 and 24. Or
right.
15 and 23, I think it is.
I think they're 15 and 24 after today. That's bad either way you slice it.
And the last bold move they made was trading for Zach Eflin. That was like 10 months ago. And I don't know. I can't believe that with the benefit of hindsight, people are still saying Adley was the correct pick. This has been blowing my mind lately because there are drafts every year in every league. And the narrative at the time of those drafts is, we can't judge this draft for 5 years. Well, we're 6 years now past the 2019 draft. And Adley may not have been a bad pick. I won't say he was a bad pick, but he was not the correct pick. To me, the 2019 draft was just the first example of Elias playing everything safe.
Yeah, I mean, he was like the consensus number 1. I get that, but I see what you're saying. Like, their job is to make the right pick. It's not, whatever Baseball America thinks. You need to see who's going to be the best player in the future, and they didn't, clearly.
Yeah, in 2025, the 2019 consensus no longer matters. It's no longer a part of the conversation.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But, yeah, I don't know. Bobby Witt looks like a future Hall of Famer, and we're lucky if Adley can become a guy at this point.
Yeah, I've been saying for a while, I feel like Agley and Matt Wieters are pretty similar, but like lately I've just been thinking that Wieters was actually just better than him.
Yeah, it's possible. Wieters gets like unfairly maligned a little bit, but he had a really good career, and
Yeah, he was good. He was just too hyped, but like he was a good player. And Agley started out good and very quickly turned not so good, whereas Wieters took a few years to really get rolling, but he was solid.
And I don't even really have a problem with the Orioles losing. That's nothing new. That's kind of what you sign up for when you want to become a Baltimore Orioles fan or follow them closely. That's a part of the experience. But my issue is that what we're talking about is that there's just been no moves made. If they were doing things and still losing like this, like, okay, fine, you're trying something, but Elias is just exhausting all patience at this point with the roster, with the fans, with the just with the lack of any moves. I don't see them doing anything. Like the next move is Westberg and Urias coming off the injured list. I'm sure he'll DFA Rivera, who is earning his spot on the roster again. And I mean, Trevor Rogers will probably be the next starting pitcher called up when they need someone to fill a start. They're they're not going to make a trade for like Mitch Keller or anything like that.
They're pretty exhausting to watch too. Like I don't like watching the Orioles this year. And it's like you said, it's not like they're losing, but there's something fun to look forward to. Like, oh, I want to see how Gunnar Henderson does. Well, this year he's been kind of crappy, and I don't really care that much to turn it on just to watch him, you know?
He's to the point where he's a little bit overrated. ESPN had the article came out this week that Jeff Passan predicted a $600 million contract for him. And listen, I'm not saying Gunnar Henderson is overrated or anything like that. He's great. I'm so glad he's a Baltimore Oriole. I really enjoy watching him play. But like I said last week and recently, I would not be shocked if those 37 home runs he hit last year were his career high. People are treating him like he's Soto or something, and he can't hit with 2 outs and runners in scoring position.
You did say that, and I didn't really agree with you, but so far you're looking correct.
I feel like the Orioles have this philosophy of being a home run hitting team, but they don't have any power hitters. They have guys who can hit home runs, but none of them are power hitters. They're not playing the type of baseball that fits the roster that they have constructed.
Yeah, I would say most of the guys are like you could argue that they're gap power, like
25 home run
stuff.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I really got on that topic. Do you think Gunnar will get 600 million?
No.
3 years from now? That's hard to predict. The Passan kind of set him up to fail here because who knows what the TV contracts are going to look like then? Like Fox has an expiring contract. ESPN already pulled out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really see networks or streaming services lining up to give Major League Baseball, NFL, or NBA money.
Yeah, that's true. I was just thinking from a performance standpoint. I didn't even think of that stuff.
That being said, though, if I were the Orioles, I would give them $600 million tonight.
I mean, honestly, they're not giving it to anyone else, so why not?
They're not going to give up $600 million in team payroll the next 3 seasons combined.
Right. That's the thing I always come back to in baseball. Like, there isn't a salary cap. Yeah, there's that luxury tax, but like, I don't care how much they spend because it's not like spending it on one guy should preclude you from spending it on somebody else. I was reading Keith Law had a draft preview, the article this week, and he was saying how like the order he showed in his preview it took away draft picks from like the Yankees, the Dodgers, and and he was like, they got penalized for trying. And it was like, what I mean is they spent above the luxury tax and tried to make their teams better.
Yeah, I saw that article in that line. That's really funny. Yeah, professional sports are hilarious. It's so funny how much as like a country and people that we pour into them emotionally and financially, and
Yeah.
it's
Well,
really
I
funny.
mean, I'm old enough and busy enough where it doesn't take much for me to turn that switch off these days. Like when the Orioles are sucking, I will happily do something else, but that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I moved the second half of the game last night to iPad duty so we could watch Righteous Gemstones. But it was like the fifth or sixth inning, and I was like, they had scored their mandated 2 runs for the game, and I was like, well, I'm pretty sure they're gonna go 0 for their next 15 here, so it should be safe.
Right, right.
Um, yeah, 2 moves Elias made at the bottom of the roster again. He acquired Luis F. Castillo from the Mariners for cash. What did you think when you saw Luis Castillo coming to the Orioles? Did that fool you for a second?
For a second, but then I thought about it and was like, no. Like, clearly that's not. And then, of course, the F is like a giveaway because he never goes by that.
I feel like the Mariners sent a phishing text to every baseball executive, like, come get Luis Castillo, and Elias was the only one that smashed that link, and then it was like, wah wah wah.
Right. It's like that guy in fantasy football 20 years ago whose name was Adrian Peterson, but it wasn't the Vikings one.
That one was actually on the Virginia Destroyers of the UFL. Marty Schottenheimer coached that team.
There you go. Would not have dug that up.
Yeah, the F stands for Felipe. He is 30 years old, 5 career Major League games, 12 hits, 6 earned runs, and 7 innings pitched. So he is Baltimore Orioles material.
Right. If you're crappy at pitching, you fit right in this year.
He spent 2023 and 2024 in Japan, so that's interesting.
So did Sugano. So you never know.
That's true. Man, I fucking love Sugano. He
is actually, I do take back what I said. He's actually fun to watch. He's like the one guy, which is pathetic. Like the one guy on your team that is good and doing his job is 35 and is from Japan. And unless you're a super hardcore baseball nerd, you never heard of that guy before they signed him.
Nope. Yep. I was very excited when they signed him just based on what I read and his pedigree and what he accomplished. But
I didn't know who he was.
No,
it's not like you're frothing at the mouth for Sugano to come over.
No idea who he was. Yeah, to make room for Luis F. Castillo, Walter Pennington caught a DFA. We discussed him last week. He made 1 appearance at High A Aberdeen and then 1 with Norfolk. Pennington was not able to find the strike zone in those 2 appearances. He walked 6 of 10. He allowed 7 runs. 5 of those were earned in 1 combined inning. So he cleared waivers and accepted his assignment to Norfolk. So they did add somebody to take some bullets for the Tide. So at least one good thing happened this week.
I think that confirms that he's not related to Chad Pennington because he was known for his accuracy.
I would be willing to let Chad Pennington make a start for the Tides over some of the other guys.
Right.
Yeah. Ready for recaps? Anything else in terms of like things we're mad about or things we'd like to see?
I mean, they'll come up while we're talking about this. They scored 5 runs against the Twins in the whole series, so
yeah, I lost my mind after this Twin series. That's when I was like, Hyde needs to go. Was after this Twin series was a real low point. We started with Cade Povich versus Pablo Lopez. The good news is the Orioles came into this series 6-0 versus Minnesota last season, but that was about as much good news as we saw in this series.
Yeah, in the bottom of the third, the Twins got out to a lead that would be more than enough for winning this game. Povich got the leadoff batter, but then followed by single, double, single, out, home run, error, ground out to end the inning. And it was 5-0.
Yeah, 5 runs on 5 hits. The error was by Kobe Mayo, who, again, will never be a major league third baseman.
His errors were bad in this game. Like, a major league third baseman makes those plays 99 out of 100 times.
Yeah, that's the problem, is when he made the errors, you weren't surprised. You were just like, oh, no.
But like, when I saw that he made a couple errors, I went back and watched them because I didn't notice all of them. And it was like, oh, those were like, neither were debatable scorekeeping errors. It was like, wow, that was a very badly misplayed ball.
If I had to guess, I don't know the number. If I had to guess, I saw him play maybe 20 games at third base for Norfolk last year, and I was just aghast at what I was watching. I could not believe the Orioles were still trotting him out there at third base. It just, and then they called him up and he made errors last year down the stretch after Westbrook got hurt. Then to see them make the same mistake again in spring training blew my mind. This is not hard to see. I am not a scout. I promise. And it's just like he has no business being at third base.
It makes you wonder what scouts do look for in terms of fielding, because there's clearly good errors and bad errors. Like, I was watching a college game the other day. I don't remember, like Vanderbilt in Tennessee, maybe. And there was a player whose dad played in the Yankee system with Derek Jeter, they said, in like A ball. And they said that year Jeter made 50-something errors at short. But he clearly stuck there and won Gold Gloves, which may or may not have been deserved. But like, he made a shit ton of errors, but he was clearly good enough. Whereas the type of errors Mayo's making, it's very obvious that he just doesn't belong where he is on the field.
And you said that was A-ball. I wonder how many he was making by the time he made it to AAA.
Right.
Jeter.
It was I think Greensboro, whatever level that is. A, or I know they weren't AAA. But yeah, I don't know. But it is something that I would be curious about if you're talking to a scout. Like, you know, if you see 50 errors from a guy, does he have any chance? And like, are you watching them? Is it because he's getting to balls he shouldn't and throwing it away, or is he booting routine grounders? You know?
Yeah, and Mayo's doing both.
Right.
Yeah, that was a Buxton RBI double, Jeffers 2 RBI single, and a Correa 2-run homer. The problem with the series was the Twins came into this bleeding also, and they just took care of business. Gunnar led off the fourth with a walk. The lone run in the game came on a 2-out Mountcastle double. At this point, it was 5-1. Bottom of the seventh, Mayo made another error. Cianel Perez walked Castro. In came Matt Bowman. The wheels totally fell off here. Buxton hit a 3-run homer, and the Twins win 9-1.
Yeah, and that Mountcastle double was the only extra base hit for the Orioles all game, and they had a total of 3. So they had 2 singles and 1 double.
Gunner's 9-game hitting streak was snapped with an 0-for-3 and 2 strikeouts. The Orioles struck out 17 times in this game. Lopez got the tone started early in the first with striking out the side on 18 pitches.
He was a rumored Orioles target a year or two ago, but obviously that never panned out.
Nope, that would have been nice. The Twins and 4 relievers the Orioles made the Twins and 4 relievers look like 1998 Kerry Wood in this game. The 17 Ks were 2 shy of the Twins team record. The Twins were also 4-for-4 with runners in scoring position. The Orioles were 12 for their last 100 coming into this game.
That's easy math to figure that percentage.
And Royce Lewis came back. He started the game at DH. He had missed all the season so far.
And we should not forget to mention that old friend Danny Coulombe pitched the 6th inning and allowed no hits, no runs, no walks with 2 Ks on 11
I'm glad
pitches.
you brought that up because we're going to go to the stolen mailbag early. Do you have any insight on why the Orioles let Danny Coulombe go in the offseason? It seems it was a choice to keep Cianel Perez over him, and that was from Alan Spencer.
If only I had any insight. We were just talking about how there's no salary cap. It seems like they didn't want to pay him, what was it, $4 million or something?
$4 million. And Cianel Perez currently has a higher whip than Charlie Morton. Cianel Perez has allowed 35 base runners in 15 innings. His whip is 2.4. Charlie Morton, who's been one of the worst pitchers any of us have ever seen, his whip is only 1.96. I love the whip stat. I don't know if other people do. It's fantastic. It's simply how many base runners are you allowing in an inning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the reason he gets compared to Coulombe is because Aiken has actually been good for a couple years, so they weren't getting rid of him. And Soto they just acquired. So if they wanted to have 3 lefties, it was either Perez or Coulomb, and it's very clear. I pulled up and posted on Blue Sky the other day the 2 years that Coulomb was in Baltimore. So this isn't like cherry picking certain stats. He was very clearly better than Perez in almost every category. The only thing he did was pitch like 20 more innings. But do you want 20 more innings of somebody below average? I don't.
Yeah, 20 more innings of CNL Perez is like 40 more base runners, if not more. Yeah, it was a great comparison you pulled up. That was a great job. It was eye-opening. I didn't expect it to be that different. I knew it would be different, but not on that level.
Yeah, I mean, Perez has been bad for a couple years now, and that completely overlapped with Coulomb's time here, and for God knows what reason, they decided to let him go.
Yeah, I gave Coulomb the 3rd star. He looked great. I was almost half tempted to watch his half inning again the next day. I've done that in the past. Like I've watched Sanchez's pitching inning the next day after that because that was fun. I wish they just clipped them out on YouTube. Like here's Coulomb's half inning.
Mm-hmm.
He came to the game, no runs allowed in 12 1/3. And then another guy who caught my eye was Louis Varland. He looked amazing. He pitched against the Orioles last season, and he was kind of like the bad pitching I was talking about earlier, the Mike Wright, Tyler Wilson, Bruce Zimmerman type last year. They moved him to the bullpen. He looked great. Wow, the Twins might have found something by putting Varland in the bullpen.
Is he the one that made that crazy play where he was like stumbling over toward first base and got him?
Yeah, that was an incredible play.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Coulomb, if the Twins fall out of it, Coulomb could find himself on a contender at the deadline too. He'd be a perfect trade pickup for somebody.
I mean, they could get something
Orioles.
good for him at this rate.
Could you imagine the Orioles trading something to get Coulomb back at the deadline?
They won't be anywhere near contending at the deadline, don't worry.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath. The number 2 star I gave to Kobe Mayo just for making me look smart because I don't enjoy saying someone is the worst third baseman I've ever seen defensively. So when you say that, it's not that you want to be backed up, but you don't want to, I don't know, you don't want to like slander yourself I don't know. Thanks, Kobe.
He also had 3 plate appearances, struck out 3 times, and saw 12 pitches in those at-bats.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then I had to stretch for a 1st star here. So I gave it to Ben Wagner. He called the game with Jim Palmer. He's way too good to be this team's 12th announcer. Like he would be number 1 on the Nats broadcast.
Wasn't he, what was his story? He was with Toronto as their radio guy. And oh, I remember. He got kicked out for Dan Shulman's kid, right? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, that was him.
He was the victim of the Nepo hire.
He's very good in the booth. I don't know. He just comes across to me as a professional broadcaster.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not fun. He's not funny. He's just solid.
I think I heard him on the radio maybe a week or 2 ago when I was listening on a Saturday or a Sunday. But the radio team does something. They like switch off. They'll do Brett Hollander and Jeff Arnold, right? They're the normal team, and they'll like swap innings. It's kind of weird.
What is the thinking behind that? Do you have any idea? I couldn't possibly begin to.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know the reason. It doesn't like bother me. It's just kind of different. So I'm always like thrown off when they're like, "Oh, now I'm gonna throw it over to Jeff," and then he's like, "Thanks, Brett." And here I am for the top of the 5th inning. It's like, what?
Yeah, I don't have any issues with Hollander or Arnold at all, but they seem to be kind of like the same guy.
Maybe that's why they do it. Maybe they each make half a salary, and they're just like, "Yeah, you can come along, I guess."
They want a contest.
Or one of them will just like try to get the other one murdered, like Nancy Kerrigan or something. And
ooh, that'd be a fun 48 Hours episode or something.
Oh, I saw they did
the Birdland Murders.
There you go.
That's the name of this episode title.
There was a Dateline or a 48 Hours about that University of Idaho murder. Remember that a few years ago when they're like 4 or 5 college kids got killed in their house in the middle of the night? It was
I watch that stuff occasionally. I watched a good one.
There was one. It was Friday night. I don't remember. I didn't see it, but I saw that it was on. But it was one of those Dateline type shows.
You should be allowed to murder if you live in Idaho. There's just nothing to do out there anyway.
Sure.
Wednesday, we got Charlie Morton versus Simeon Woods Rice. Simeon Rice. Do you remember him? The
Defensive end?
defensive lineman. Yeah.
Cardinals?
No, this was and Bucks. He won a Super Bowl.
Was he the first overall pick?
No, he was up there though. Top 10, maybe even top 5.
Okay.
I'm seeing number 3 in my head.
Let's see. I'm pulling him up right now. He was picked number 3 in 96.
So still got it. Damn, 1996.
Behind Keyshawn Johnson and Kevin Hardy. Then behind him was Jonathan Ogden, who's a Hall of Famer. So probably he should have been number 1.
That's a pretty good top 5 or whatever. All those guys made impacts. Even Kevin Hardy, who was pretty forgettable.
Yeah.
Had a nice long
after
career.
That's pretty bleak, but yeah.
This was Simeon Woods Richardson, and Simeon Woods Richardson broke my brain. This is where I went off on my tangent, like the Orioles not drafting any pitching in hindsight was a huge problem. I didn't question it in the moment. I can't claim when they were neglecting to draft pitchers, near the top of the draft every year. I was like, they need to take some pitching. That's not the case, but the results are in. Because like I said, 5 years is a fair time to evaluate drafts. Elias has been there 6 years now, and they are just barren for pitching. And Simeon Woods Richardson was a second-round pick, and I don't know, he looked good this one. He didn't go very long, but he was fun to watch.
He got traded for Jose Barrios. We talked about him recently.
He was traded for Marcus Stroman as well.
Yeah, he's been traded twice already. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. That's another thing. If you draft pitching, you can trade it. Teams will trade for young pitching. They don't want to trade for young outfielders, it seems like.
Apparently not.
Top of the first, Charlie Morton pitched the first inning. He looked like he got some good advice from his dad because he looked really good in this first inning.
Like Jackson Holiday?
That's incredibly embarrassing, right? That you needed your dad to tell you that your swing is off, and the 30 hitting coaches that the Orioles employ couldn't come up with that?
I agree. I'd say it's less embarrassing that your dad is a multiple, like, what was he, a 7-time All-Star? Like, it's not like some guy's dad who's like a mechanic or something giving him better hitting advice. But yeah, if you're part of a major league team and you're getting better advice from your dad than the guys who work with you every day, that's not good.
Yeah, since he's gotten that advice, I'm just making up a day here. In the last 15 days, he's batting .333. So, Matt Holliday, come on down. You're the new Orioles hitting coach.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it. It would be kind of weird working with your son, but there's definitely less quality. Brett Boone just got hired by the Rangers. Matt Holliday was better than him, I think.
Working with your son is in the Orioles' DNA, though. Cal Sr., Cal Jr., Billy Ripken.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, with the Tides, don't remember what year this was. They had Ron Johnson was a manager, and Chris Johnson, former major leaguer, was his son, was on that Tides team.
Wait, now I want to do that comparison thing with Matt Holliday and Brett Boone to see if I'm just totally off base saying that he was better.
No, you're not off base at all. Holliday was a stud. Boone had a nice steroid-fueled end of his career.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, God. Okay, Holliday played 123 more games and just blows him away across the board. Like, the comparison thing is green in everything for Holliday except Gold Gloves. So, yeah, he was way better.
The injections category is through the chart for Brett Boone.
Right.
Top 3. Lariano started it off with a 425-foot blast to straightaway center, and the Orioles were up 1-0.
Then the real Charlie Morton reappeared in the bottom of the third. Willie Castro led off with a single. Cody Clemens, Rogers' kid, was hit by Morton, did not throw the bat at him. And then Byron Buxton took Morton deep for his second game in a row, I believe, with a 3-run homer, and it was 3-1 Twins.
Yeah, I hated that Buxton had to do this against the Orioles, but when he's playing well, he's a fun guy to watch.
He's a classic case of a guy who's just gotten hurt a million times, but has so much talent.
Yeah, you almost feel like if he could have a full healthy career, he might be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's got pop. He can fly. Good fielder. Really good player. He played for Rochester for a bit. I don't remember
Was
if that
he
was a
on the?
rehab or if he was coming up.
Did he make your all-time Red Wings team?
No, he was on. I put him on like the secondary list that I was choosing from. He didn't make the cut.
Laureano would double with 2 outs in the 5th. He'd come around to score on a Kerstad RBI single, and now it's 3-2 Twins. So the Orioles are hanging in there.
I have to mention again, Danny Coulomb came in the top of the 5th, got Mullins to strike out to finish the inning, then got the first 2 batters in the 6th before allowing a Ryan O'Hearn single and getting replaced. So second straight outing of Coulomb allowing no runs and striking out 2, but this time he did allow a hit.
That has to feel good to shut down the team that was like, thanks, but no thanks.
Oh, absolutely. He's probably too nice to say that, but yeah, I guarantee he was pumped. I saw his wife at one of the Rangers games I went to. I mean, it had to have been because it was this woman with like a denim jacket with like rhinestones spelling out Coulomb with his jersey number on the back. I was like, it had to be his wife. Nobody else would have that.
Yeah. Well, she's watching them have great success with the Twins this season. I feel like the Twins might have found their stride this week with the Orioles. Like the Orioles were just what the Twins needed to get their season jump started.
Yeah, the slump busters.
Yeah. Dominguez walked Royce Lewis to start the 7th. He's relieved by Keegan Aiken. Rocco Baldelli counters with Harrison Bader to pinch hit for Cody Clemens, and he repays his faith in him with his first career pinch hit home run. Coulomb got the win. Twins win 5-2. All I can really say is here, I really like these Twins uniforms that they wore, those white and black uniforms.
Are those the City Connects that have like the... Oh, no, those are blue, aren't they?
I don't know if they're their City Connects. They say Twin Cities on the front.
Okay. I don't think they're the City Connects then.
Yeah, I don't think they are either. The Twins rebrand as a whole is shitty compared to their traditional look, but these uniforms here, I think they got it right.
I don't think I like the lack of like trim around the, I don't know the right word, but like, you know how the lettering on their uniforms, it's one color, no outline. I don't really, it looks cheap to me.
The Orioles fell to 0-9 in Charlie Morton appearances because he made a relief appearance in this game. So they were 13-13 in all other games after this. But Tyler O'Neill made a rehab start for Norfolk on this day, and I watched some of it on the iPad. And I thought it was interesting. He was wearing an Orioles helmet and had the Strauss ad on the side. So I think the Tides got the postseason helmets as hand-me-downs, probably for rehab guys.
So that, I think I mentioned this last year because I saw a Rochester social media post and there was a rehabbing national who was wearing a Nats helmet. And I just thought that was silly. Like, why? You have to have an extra one lying around. And that fact you just gave proves that wasn't actually Tyler O'Neill's like Orioles helmet. He had no reason to not wear a Norfolk one because he wasn't on the team last year when they wore that one.
I wonder if it's the equivalent of...
Unless it's like a rule.
Well, I remember when the pitch clock was in the minor leagues, but not in the major leagues. When a rehabbing guy was up, they shut off the pitch clock. It's like a union thing. So I wonder if these helmets are a union thing.
Or, yeah, to like show that they're a major leaguer. You think it's for the fans to be like, hey, this guy shouldn't be here. He's really good. I don't know.
Or like, would the union thing be like the player has to be provided with major league caliber equipment?
Could be. I would assume the helmets are the same in the minor leagues with a different sticker on them. But
maybe they're made by a different company. I don't know.
We should tweet at one of these writers and ask them if they know why. Because it's one of those things that like doesn't matter, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, is it the equivalent of a red practice jersey also? So the other guys be like, look, just let this guy get his work in. Don't hit him in the head with a pitch. Don't take him out at second base on a double play ball. Like maybe it's like that?
It could be. I mean, I don't know. There's probably some AAA pitchers who might hit a guy without trying to, but
Right. Yeah, I'm hoping to go to Wednesdays and Thursdays games this week. At least I haven't been to enough Ties games this year. It's bothering me because the Admirals are in the playoffs. The hockey team.
yeah, you have
So
time to fix it. It's only May.
I do. 3 stars. Last episode, I said Ramon Laureano was funny in the post-game interviews without trying to be, and that got backed up because on this day, an article came out that Andy Koska did, and he is even funnier than I thought. He had this quote, "In AAA, I'd get there at 12 and just walk on the grass, shirtless, no shoes, nothing, barefoot and shirtless. What a life. The sun, it's anti-inflammatory. God gave us that. And God gave us grass. He gave us everything. He gave us the dirt to clean our brain from all the toxins our brain absorbs. And that's it." End quote.
I mean, I kind of agree with what he's saying until the dirt to clean your brain thing. Like, that came out of left field. No pun intended.
Yeah, it took a sharp turn there. You're just like, okay, he's one with himself. He's found peace. And wait, what?
Yeah, that is silly.
The 7, 8, 9 hitters, Laureano, Kjerstad, and Rivera, 5 for 11, 2 runs, 2 RBI, 1 home run. Rivera just continues to kill it. And the number 1 star, Matt Bowman, for making possibly his last appearance as an Oriole. He was DFA'd the next day. He pitched just scoreless, bottom of the 8th.
Emmanuel Rivera is, I think, my favorite Oriole. Behind Sagano, I guess.
I might have this later on somewhere. I am going to lose my shit if Rivera is DFA'd over Mateo when these other guys come back. Because Rivera bailed them out last year. He bailed them out here. He continues to make the most of his opportunities. And they won't give him a fair shake because he was a waiver claim or he doesn't fit the amount of time they feel like they put in. Like, Mateo is not good anymore. And they only keeping him around for pinch running. And if you DFA him and he clears, you get him in Norfolk. And if the Orioles there's a lot of ifs here, are able to crawl their way back into the conversation of possible playoff teams, you still have him in Norfolk in September. You can pull him back up. You really don't need pinch running until September in the playoffs anyway. Let Rivera hit. He does it in limited at-bats. You don't need to play him all the time. And he probably should be playing more anyway.
Rivera has reached base in every game he's played so far this year. It's only 8 games. And the funny thing is, the first game he played, he didn't get a hit, but he had a walk, and he scored a run. The next 6 games straight, he had at least 1 hit and scored 0 runs. And then today, he didn't get a hit, got on base, and scored 2 runs. So if he walks, he'll score. If he gets a hit, he doesn't. But either way, he's doing his job.
And he plays a good third base, too.
Yeah.
If they DFA him, someone's claiming him. You don't see a guy hit 400 in 2 weeks and sneak him back through waivers.
Yeah, I mean, I joked about how last year in a small sample size, he was basically Mike Schmidt at third base, but like, it's true if you look at the numbers.
That's what's pissing me off is guys are earning playing time or at least roster spots with their limited opportunities, and the Orioles are just constantly exploiting is the wrong word, but using the collective bargaining roster tools instead of giving these guys who are earning opportunities spots on the roster. The locker room sees guys like CNL Perez and Jorge Mateo constantly get rewarded without doing shit. And they see these guys who come in and make the most of their opportunities and just get churned. And you wonder why the team sucks right now. It's because the front office is setting this shitty tone of no reward for positive play. Kobe Mayo is killing it in AAA, and they still won't give him a look, even though Mountcastle, I know he's picked it up recently. But prior to the last couple of days, Mountcastle should have lost his spot. He has an option.
Mountcastle still has a 599 OPS after going 2 for 4 today. That's horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Rivera. Like, it's not common, but it's also not uncommon for a guy to just be a late bloomer who never got a lot of opportunities. Like a Jose Bautista is a guy that comes to mind. Like he was a nobody until like his late 20s. So it's possible Rivera might just be good, and you need to let him play.
Yeah, he's earned it for sure. And I am going to blow a gasket if he gets DFA'd. If he gets DFA'd, I'm going to say Elias should be fired. Just that's how irrational I am right now.
If he gets DFA'd, I kind of hope somebody claims him and he becomes Jose Bautista. Like, the Orioles deserve that.
They do. Absolutely. The great take. Yeah. And he's earned it.
I just pulled up Jose Bautista. He did not have more than 16 homers until his age 29 season when he blew up. And guess how old Rivera is? He will be 29 in June.
Rivera's played 34 games for the Orioles. He has a .5 WAR. Like, WAR is a hard stat to build up. And in limited playing time, he's up to .5 already. Kobe Mayo is like a negative .3 after 12 at-bats this week.
Yeah, what do they say? They have the little WAR chart on their page. They say anything over 2 for a season is starter material. He's on pace for 2.5 if you extrapolate that over a season.
Perfect. Yeah. More Emmanuel Rivera, please.
Rivera,
at least
third.
On the roster.
What if Rivera just played first base?
Yeah, absolutely. It should be in the conversation.
Like, he's got to be able to. Any third baseman, I think, can play first base. Except, I guess, if you say Mayo sucks. But, like, normal third basemen, they can all play first.
I'm not even that high on Mayo. I just want to see them make some kind of simple change. I'm not calling for, like, wholesale roster changes here. So, like, if you wanted to option Mountcastle last week and just give Mayo some playing time as a way to try and generate a spark, fine. But Rivera's already here, and he should be getting these opportunities.
Yeah, if Westberg and Arias are coming back, Mountcastle sucks. Put Rivera at first. Let them and Henderson and Holiday fill the other 3 spots.
Rivera is outplaying Tyler O'Neill, Heston Kjerstad, Ryan Mountcastle, Kobe Mayo.
Basically everybody.
Adley.
Basically everybody but O'Hearn, and even Mullins has been slumping lately. Like, there's not many guys you can say have been better than Rivera, even though, as we said, he hasn't been up that long.
Yeah, Mullins was 1 for May coming into today's game.
Ugh.
Thursday, May 7th, Dean Kramer versus Bailey Ober. I had to look up Bailey Ober's stats versus the Orioles. So, like, wasn't this guy pretty good against them? And he was 3 starts, 1-1, 18 innings pitched, 11 hits, 1 home run, 4 earned runs, 15 strikeouts, and only 3 walks.
He's also 6'9", 260. The dude's enormous.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. But the story of this game isn't what the Orioles did, it's what they didn't do. There was just too many opportunities to talk about here. Dean was great, got no help. In the second and third innings, the Orioles had runners on second and third with less than 2 outs and came away with no runs. They struck out 4 times swinging in those 2 innings to shut those rallies down.
Yeah, I mean, they had 10 hits on the day. 3 of them were doubles and the rest were singles. And they just really failed to string any together.
Rivera had 3 hits in this game.
Yeah,
that's about it.
I mean, they scored both their runs by the 6th inning, and that tied the game. But then the Twins blew it open in the 8th off of Cano and Soto. They basically failed the rest of the team there.
Yeah, Ty France had an RBI single for the Twins. Game was tied at 2 in the 6th. Twins won 5-2. Cano walked 2 guys. Soto allowed 2 base hits. Soto's ERA is up 4.85 in the last 10 games. He's 0-1, a 7.88 ERA in 8 innings pitched, 12 hits, 7 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 4 walks, and a .353 batting average against in his last 10.
That's really
bad. So the wheels have
bad.
come off him.
And it's a bummer, too, because this was the second straight good start from Kramer after being total ass for the first month of the season. His last 2 starts, he's gone 14 innings and allowed only 2 runs. And
Yeah, Morton and Gibson got to go. You can put Morton in the bullpen. You can talk me into that, at least for a limited time. But yeah, the rotation right now should be Eflin, Zagano, Kramer, Povich, and I guess Gibson until you can figure out.
no, Gary Sanchez. Well, he's out,
Orioles,
actually.
Yeah. Orioles 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position. They stranded 9, 4 for 23 in the series. No stars in this game, but Kramer was good. This capped a 3-game sweep where they were outscored 19-5 by the Twins.
Kramer would have to be the number one star, but really nobody else did anything. Well, Rivera, 3 for 4. There you go. Kramer and Rivera, the 2 Orioles stars. The rest don't matter.
And Coulomb, just for being a cool.
This was the only game of the series he didn't pitch because he went the first 2 games.
we miss you, Danny Coulomb.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we get the Angels. Sugano versus Kyle Hendricks. Friday night, West Coast baseball. I stayed up to watch this game, and it wrecked my weekend. I was off after that. I ended up falling asleep yesterday at like 6:30, and then waking up. I didn't plan it; it just happened. So that threw off my sleep even more. I ended up sleeping till 10 o'clock this morning on Sunday, and that is unheard of at this age. But I can't even do that when I want to.
I was up for most of this game because I had a hockey game on Friday night, and it was at 11:30. That's when it started.
Oh, wow.
So I live in the Central Time Zone, so that's 12:30 Eastern. So I did get to see most of it before I left. And then I didn't get to sleep till like 2 that night, so that kind of sucked.
Yeah, you got to see Gunnar hit a 2-out solo homer for 400 feet to put the Orioles up 1-0. And in the second, the O brothers, O'Hearn and O'Neill, drew walks to start the inning. Holiday and Rivera each came through with RBI singles. 2 runs, 2 hits, 3-0 Orioles lead. We're back.
Yeah, Kyle Hendricks looked kind of like Kyle Gibson, just like a dude who used to be decent and is just old and washed, and his name is Kyle.
Yeah, the Orioles will probably trade for him soon.
Right. And on the other side, Sugano was great, didn't allow a run until the bottom of the 7th. That was because Yoan Moncada tripled on the first pitch of the inning down the right field line and then was driven in on a ground out by Taylor Ward, which made it 3-1. The broadcast barely got back in time for that. I don't think they even showed the pitch. Like, unless I'm mistaken, they cut into the inning and the ball was like going into the outfield already. I was like, what the hell happened?
Okay, that's why I didn't know it was Moncada until the play was over, because I was like, when the hell did the Angels get Yoan Moncada? They have some fun signings every year. They tried this last year with Miguel Sanu, the former Twins. He lost a bunch of weight, and they tried dusting him off. And yeah, Moncada, like, I don't know, that's just fun. Like, you already pissed away your third base budget on Anthony Rendon, so why not throw a lottery ticket on Yoan Moncada?
Right. I mean, there's not many guys who get hurt more than Moncada, but Rendon is one of them. So,
did you see that article in The Athletic last year where Sam Blum ranked like the 28 third baseman the Angels have played since signing Anthony Rendon?
Yeah, well, didn't he put Rendon like way down below?
Nico Goodrum was on that list, who was a former Norfolk Tide Orioles signing last season.
That's crazy. So since signing Rendon, they played 28 dudes at his position.
They played more than the Nationals.
That's crazy.
He was good with the Nationals. People like that part of his career is going to be erased from everybody's memory. Like,
that's why he got the deal he got.
Yeah, they're not even going to remember that he won a World Series title. They're just going to remember this disastrous Angels stretch.
Right. It's crazy too that I always forget that the Nationals won without Bryce Harper too. Like, I think that was the first year he was gone and they went and won. And then you can say they got, I don't know what they offered Rendon, if anything, but they dodged a huge bullet there.
No, I think they were pretty strategic in, like, we're letting all these guys go. Like, this, and they had that squad together for a long time. It was like a 6-year run where they were, they were going hard every year after a title. And I think they knew that. And then 2020, they got fucked because of COVID. So there was no victory tour for him or even chance at a repeat in Strasburg. By the time that was over, he was cooked.
Yeah, I remember I was in DC then, and we were out like day drinking the day of the parade. We didn't go to the parade, but all these like drunk Nats bros started swarming around the city, and I was like, oh yeah, that happened today, didn't it?
Gotta go. Sagano got the leadoff man in the 8th. He's replaced by Cano. Adele singled, Soler walks. Then we got a 13 pitch at bat with 7 foul balls from Zach Neto. He finally went down swinging. Aiken comes in to face the left-handed Nolan Shonowell with 2 on, 2 out. He thinks he walks at one point, but he finally flies out to Mullins to end the threat. Shonowell and Neto saw 21 pitches between the two of them, so Cano was kind of on the brink here and was able to get out of it.
It was good to see him get out of it after not doing so hot the previous day.
And the 9th, Rivera led off with a single. He was brought in by a gunner triple. Insurance run that Felix didn't need. He shut down the Angels 2 strikeouts on 12 pitches for his 7th save, which is exactly half of the Orioles' win total at this point. So where would they be without Felix Bautista? Probably
have a couple less wins. If it was Craig Kimbrell, if actually early season Craig Kimbrell last year wasn't too bad. If it was late season Craig Kimbrell, they would have had like 4 more losses probably.
Yeah, easy. No notes. 3 stars. Sagano. Where have you been all my life? Just he's Maddoxian. He's great.
Kind of is, yeah. It doesn't throw super hard, but just gets by with the command, and that splitter of his is nasty.
He used 6 different pitches. I don't even think I can name 6 pitches.
Well, you got, if you can say like 4-seam, 2-seam, sinker,
sweeper,
slider, curveball, changeup, cutter. Yeah, they have the kick change now as a thing. I Googled that the other day because I was like, what the fuck is a kick change? And it's basically a normal changeup grip where you just pull your one finger up a little bit and like put the tip of your finger on the ball instead of having like your whole finger over the ball. And I guess they call it a kick change because that like kicks the ball on a off axis and it doesn't spin normally. It spins a little sideways, and that's what makes it special, I guess.
Now that I'm a huge audiobook nerd, I was looking through the recommendations Spotify was giving me, and it's giving me a bunch of baseball ones because the Last Manager and the Baseball 100, and one of them was, where is it here?
K by Tyler Kepner.
Yes, A History of Baseball in 10 Pitches. I'm very interested in this.
That's a good book.
Did you read that?
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, and each chapter is like a different pitch and about guys who were good at it and how it kind of became a thing. And the one about like the spitball is pretty interesting too.
Okay, that might be my next book. I think I'm going to do one audiobook a month. That's my goal. I'm halfway through this Baseball 100. It's quite a task.
It's long. Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't name the knuckleball. I wonder if Sagano has a knuckleball he could bust out someday.
That would be fun.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
2nd star, Gunner, 2 for 4 with a walk and the 1st inning home run. And the 3rd star, I got Mountain Mike's Pizza. This ad was behind the batter for most of the game. It originally opened in 1978, primarily located in Northern California. They have locations in Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, Oregon, Texas, Idaho, Wyoming, and Utah. And speaking of Utah, do you like the new name of the hockey team, the Mammoth?
I'm kind of neutral on it. I don't love it, but it's not terrible. What do you think?
Same with the logo. The logo looks like a generic option you would get for like the creative team on NHL 25 or whatever.
I agree.
Would you buy a jersey or, even just the Utah name, the
I don't like
jersey?
the just Utah jerseys, but probably if it was like cheap and I got a good deal, I might buy one, but I'm not going to like go out of my way.
Seek it out. Would you get a Coyotes throwback then, since they're probably not coming back, right?
I have an alt Coyotes, like the orange one they had a couple years ago. I got one of those with Clayton Keller on it because he played at BU.
Okay. Yeah, hockey's going pretty good right now with I'm really pumped about the Admirals. I wonder if they won today. They won last night. It was a great game. So I went Thursday. I'll make this quick. Nobody cares. Thursday's game, they went down 2-1 in the series. Trey Riviere, Lions, it's in Montreal. They went up early, and then they just sat on the puck the whole time, and They won 4-1. It might have even been 4-0. This game was terrible. Crowd was dead. Friday night, the Admirals knew they had to win. From puck drop, they just went at it. They won 1-0. Every inch of that ice was a hard fought battle. It was great. I hope they win today so they go win another game up in Canada and come back. And if they win, they'll be in the conference finals.
Let's see. I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah, the game was at 5, so it should be over.
It looks like it's 0-0 in overtime right now.
Oh my god, I couldn't go today
No
because
score.
it was Mother's Day. Man, my mom owes me for skipping this one.
That's pretty crazy. I also just pulled up Mountain Mike's Pizza. There's one not super far from me, but I was actually today I took my kids to the Dallas Baptist baseball game, DBU. I had never been. They had a nice little park. We actually didn't even have to buy a ticket. They have this little grassy berm out in left field that we just went and sat up there. We didn't go very long, so I was kind of glad to not have to buy a ticket. But I was right near Mountain Mike's Pizza. Never knew about it, so I missed my chance.
Yeah, you gotta check that out. Yeah, I went to a Christopher Newport University Division III baseball game last year. Me and a buddy went. It was free. They got a cool little park there.
Yeah,
it's nowhere near as nice as this one.
Yeah, this park's legit. They're pretty good. They've been ranked plenty of times. They make the NCAA tournament pretty consistently. I could not tell you any major leaguers who played there. Let's see.
Alumni.
Yeah. But it was a nice little park, and they got there's like a creek stream thing and some nice trees. They have a couple hills out there, which are not very common in the Dallas metro area. Let's see. According to their website from a couple years ago, they have Cody Funderburk, Colin Poche, Drew Smith, I've never heard of.
I'm glad you mentioned Colin Poche, though, because he was on the Nats this year, and he was terrible. And remember I said that Kornheiser loosely covers the Nats on his podcast?
Mm-hmm.
So Kornheiser just bitches about the bullpen all the time, and he calls Poche Pooch. He just says Pooch comes in and blew the game. Pooch came in and walked a batter.
Uh-huh.
So Pooch got DFA'd, and I guess the next couple of days, the bullpen pitched really good. And he was like, Pooch being DFA'd sent a chill through that room. And I don't know, we just need a chill sent through this Orioles locker room.
Right.
You got to DFA somebody. Let's fucking do it. There's plenty of candidates. There's at least 4 I can name off the top of my head.
Right. Oh, they do have a lot more, actually. So those are only current guys. Ben Zobrist went there, apparently.
Oh, he's great.
Jason LaRue, Freddie Sanchez, Ryan Goins, Lou Ford. So, yeah, some decent major leaguers, but nothing crazy.
That Ben Zobrist story with his wife is, I don't want to say entertaining, but interesting.
I remember something happening, but I don't remember any of the details.
She's like a Christian singer, and she left him for his pastor, and it got messy. He had to leave the team for a while.
Oh, yeah. So this is Dallas Baptist University. They are pretty religious. I was looking at some of the player bios, and they all include their favorite Bible verse. I know jack shit about the Bible. I would put my favorite verse wherever Jesus said, hit some dingers.
And be cool.
Right. So maybe it's not surprising that Ben Zobrist played at a school like that. But
Saturday, we got Kyle Gibson. How tall is Kyle Gibson? 6'5"?
That's a good question. I'll pull him up.
Because this matchup was all arms and legs. Jack Konovitz for the Angels. He was a 2019 third rounder. This is the type of guy I was bitching about earlier, where the Orioles don't even have bad young pitching available. But the Orioles made this guy look like a star tonight.
Baseball Reference has Kyle Gibson at 6'6", so close enough.
Okay. Konovitz is like 6'5", I think, 6'4". They had similar windups. Like Konovitz looked like the fresher version of Kyle Gibson. He threw a lot harder.
Is that like how people compare Cade Povich to Max Fried because they look the same,
yes,
except one's actually good and the other's not?
Perfect. Neto, Shawnuel, Moncada start the game with 3 straight singles. Neto scores. Taylor Ward hits a sacrifice fly. Angels are up 2-0 before they even sang the Star Spangled Banner.
The O's put some pressure on Kokanovitz in the top of the third. With 2 outs, Mateo walked. Then he almost got picked off, and Holiday walked, but Agley popped up to end the inning, and nothing really happened after that for the O's.
Yeah, in the fourth, Gibson had retired 9 straight. Joe Adell reminds us that Kyle Gibson is cooked. He had a 435-foot homer. I watched this game, but I listened to this inning on the radio because I had to go pick up a pizza. So Mateo might have misplayed a Paris infield single. It wasn't ruled an error, but I only heard it described on the broadcast, and they made it sound like an error. And because every Orioles mistake this season is capitalized on, Paris would score on a Matthew Lugo triple. I never heard of Matthew Lugo before.
Me neither. Let's look him up. Looking up random players on the other team is more fun than actually talking about the Orioles.
Yeah.
Matthew Lugo was a second-round pick in 2019. He's from Puerto Rico. He graduated from the Carlos Beltran Baseball Academy. And this is his first ever appearance. He's played 2 Major League games, according to Baseball Reference. So if he played today, maybe that's 3.
Huh. Drafted by the Red Sox in the second round. Who'd they trade him for?
I did not even bother looking.
I don't see transactions.
Yeah, it doesn't say here.
The Carlos Beltran Baseball Academy. That's awesome. He had a 656 OPS in 35 AAA games with Salt Lake.
That's not good, especially Salt Lake. Aren't those numbers juiced out there?
Yeah, and he comes in and eats up the Orioles.
Right.
Well, Kyle Gibson specifically.
Right.
Then Gibson allowed all 3 batters he faced in the 5th to reach base. A leadoff single by Shonowell and 2 walks. Colin Selby comes in, limits the damage to 1 run, and of course is rewarded the next day with an option to Norfolk.
Where are we at? I don't even know.
The 6th, Henderson hits a 2-out single, scores on an RBI double from Mountcastle. Mountcastle quietly 8 hits in his last 9 in a 6-game hitting streak, but it's 5-1 Angels at this point.
Oh yeah, and then the top of the 9th, Laureano hit his home run and just looked completely unenthused about it and knocked over the dong bong. That was funny.
I feel like he's gonna snap. He seems very intense and very focused. And when they're losing, I don't think he wants to do this waterworks shit. I think he's just like, you guys need to play fucking baseball and try and get some wins and not worry about these sprinklers and dong bongs and pirate hats. And
yeah, that
leave
was
me alone.
One.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think Laureano's gonna. Is Ramon Laureano gonna have to cut a bitch? Because he ain't playing games.
Maybe that was the pirate hat that really put him over the edge. Maybe he was like, I'm already drinking out of this thing. Now you're making me look like a Jack Sparrow or some shit.
And what happened is he walked through like the tunnel of players and they just pulled the helmet off his head and put the pirate hat on his head. He stopped, pulled it off and looked at it like, you motherfuckers, and put it back on his head. Like, I feel like he wants to be a good teammate and play along, but at the same time, he's like, we're losing.
Right.
We need to be winning.
Or he's like, you're a bunch of 12-year-olds. And but yeah, putting the hat on does seem a bit much when you're down 5-2 in the 9th inning. Like, I get the take a drink from the sprinkler because that's a thing you do, but adding the extra celebration at that point seems silly.
He's just like, you guys need to get some dirt on your brains and focus on moving the runner over,
get those toxins
laying down
out.
A good bunt. Yeah. So I love Laureano. It's a great signing. What's sad is like we're falling in love with these guys like Emmanuel Rivera and Ramon Laureano because they're doing their jobs and everyone else sucks.
Yeah, you're right. I think in an ideal world, we wouldn't care about these old random dudes because they wouldn't play much and they wouldn't be one of their couple.
We barely know their names.
Better players.
Yeah. So, and now we're just like, these guys are carrying the team.
Right.
Yeah, this brought us to Sunday. Zach Eflin's back. Tyler Anderson, left-hander, starting for the Angels. So, the Orioles are in trouble when a lefty's on the mound.
Well, it actually didn't start out giving them much trouble because Gunnar hit a double, and with 2 outs, Agley tripled, and that scored Gunnar. So 2 extra base hits in the first inning, and the O's took a quick lead.
Yeah, O'Neill and Mountcastle couldn't capitalize, and Hyde putting Mountcastle in the third spot was insane to me. He'd been batting him fourth, and somehow he earned his way up to third. I just felt like put Rivera there, you coward. But
it is an odd decision, but also looking at the rest of the lineup, like, I don't know, who else do you put there? I guess Rivera has been hot, but they don't have any guys hitting like a third batter.
And this Adley triple is kind of a fluke. Taylor Ward lost in the sun. It had a 2% hit rate, but it also would have been a home run at Fenway Park.
Well, I guess you got to take them where you can. If you can't get a hit for real, hit it into the sun.
And Eflin was almost out of the bottom of the first inning on less than 10 pitches, but Solar singled with 2 outs, and then Taylor Ward doubled in a run and a Hoppy singled, and that 1-0 lead was gone.
Hoppy is one of my favorite names in Major League Baseball. It's just a cheerful name, I think.
Yeah, you made that beer brand for him.
Did they?
No, you did.
Oh, I did? What, did I say that like last year or something?
Yeah, you had a post where like a Hoppy.
See, shows how much my brain doesn't even remember the stupid shit that I think of.
Yeah, but at this point, I was like, the Angels play a better brand of baseball. They move the runners over. Like, while the Orioles seem to be constantly trying to pound the ball.
Isn't Ron Washington their manager?
I thought today, too, I would trade Brandon Hyde for Ron Washington straight up for the rest of the season.
Why wouldn't you?
I would do that.
Is there anyone who would actually, like, object to that from the Orioles side?
Well, where I posted this, it got some objections, but they love some orange Kool-Aid. That's all I'll say.
I guess. I mean, Hyde has done nothing from a strategic standpoint to make me think that he's not better than, or that he is better than a guy like Ron Washington.
Ron Washington took a couple teams to the World Series, and somehow that is not remembered anymore.
He's also been around forever. Like, why would you not take that over Brandon Hyde, who's not some Craig Counsell wonderkind,
Right. Washington didn't get jobs when he should have got jobs. You can make up your own reasons why. I'm sure they're not hard to figure out. Mm-hmm. And then he had the
2 Rangers
off-field
teams
stuff that cost him a good chunk of his managerial career after the Rangers. So this guy should have had like a 25-year-old managerial career. He probably should have had a Dusty Baker-like career. But because he wasn't well known as a player, some other stuff on top of the other stuff, he just had like 2 short stints.
Yeah, I mean,
with teams that were desperate to hire him.
I guess you could argue that you don't want him because of off-field stuff, and I'm not going to dispute that.
That's fair.
I was only thinking from a baseball standpoint.
Right. As a baseball mind, I think he's great.
Yeah.
And his players seem to love him. But yeah, I had to look. The last time managers were traded for each other was Jimmy Dykes and Joe Gordon in 1960. The owner mentioned it to the other team's owner as like a joke, and then they thought about it, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's trade manager.
The top of the 5th, the O's got back on the board. Rivera reached by error. Mullins doubled him in, and then Orioles star catcher Maverick Handley hit a sac fly to score Rivera, and that tied the game.
Then Ron Washington walked Tyler O'Neill to face Mountcastle, and I like this move just because I think intentional walks are overlooked and not utilized enough, but this one didn't work. Mountcastle came through, extended his hitting streak to 7 games, 3-2 Orioles lead. Of course, Adley ended the threat with a meaningless pop-up or whatever it is Adley does nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And that took us to the 6th. Laureano was the star of the 6th inning here.
Laureano led off the inning with a walk, then stole second base. He then advanced on, well, you described this because I didn't watch it live, but a pickoff attempt that ended up scoring like a Little League play.
I had to watch this on my phone as my wife was driving us home from my Mother's Day festivities.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Lariano led off with a walk, stole second. He went to third on an error, and then he came home on a wild pitch. Rivera then drew a walk. Mullins singled for his second base hit of the month, and Maverick Hanley laid down a beautiful bunt. Rivera scores, and then all this was before Gunnar Henderson homered. He got to wear the pirate hat. Second home run of the series, 7-2, Orioles lead. They gave up a meaningless home run in the ninth to somebody. I don't even know who. Off of Bautista.
It looks like.
And
Oh, it was Matthew Lugo.
cool. Yeah, nice.
And that's an appropriate time for Gunnar to have the pirate hat. Like you went up 7-2. It's the fifth inning. You wear a stupid ass hat. Who cares?
Yeah, that's how. Because this celebration thing is kind of new to baseball within the last, I don't know, 5 years maybe. Maybe just save it for when you're winning. You don't. Maybe you don't need to be walking around with a candy cane when you're losing 19-2.
And when they fly out or strike out, they should just have a plank that they have to walk off of.
Every time you strike out, somebody slaps you when you get back to the dugout. Like this stuff shouldn't just be for good things.
Yeah, right. I have to give credit to Handley for the sack bunt because I at least was recently saying that the Orioles don't bunt enough, and I like that they were able to manufacture a run that way. When I was, since I took my kids to that DBU game, and I was not actually watching this one.
Yeah, this game was huge. It saved a bad week from being a disastrous week. Like, I don't know, you maybe could have fired Hyde on the day off tomorrow if they would have went 1-5, where everybody was preaching the softness of the May schedule.
Well, I mean, they did go 2-4, so it's a rough week overall. But I guess you have some momentum going into another showdown with the Twins. We'll see if the Twins really do just own the Orioles very soon.
What did the Twins do in the following series? Because that'll be pretty telling.
Let's see. Minute. They're up to 20-20 now. Well, that doesn't include today. Let's see.
They won today.
I hate how Baseball Reference doesn't update that quickly.
Twins have won 8 straight.
Yeah, they swept the Giants, who I don't think are very good, but still.
The Twins are 15-6 at home and 6-14 on the road. They have a plus 19 run differential, though. But 14 of those were against the Orioles.
I mean, they were winning close games against the Giants. 3-1, 2-1. And what was today's score? 7-6. Okay. So
AL Central's sneaky tough right now.
The Rockies are the new White Sox this year. Just horrendous.
No 3 stars, just happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I got a quiz. I don't think we've done it before. I found this one to the last second. And it was right on top. So, can you choose which player had more of the given stat? Only 12 questions, 3 minutes.
Ooh. All right. I don't remember doing this, but we'll see if it sounds familiar.
And if we did, we'll see. Maybe we can improve on it.
True.
All right. More walks. 2,190. Ricky Henderson or Tim Raines?
Gotta be Ricky.
Yeah, I think he was the all-time walks guy, right? Other than Bonds.
Yeah, I think he was until Bonds broke it, right?
Yep, Ricky's correct. More wins. The aforementioned Greg Maddux or Roger Clemens at 355. Ooh, we mentioned both those guys today.
Yeah, we did. That's tough.
Yeah.
They both pitched a long time.
355 is a lot. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, their careers overlapped like pretty, I would think, within a couple years on either end.
Yeah, Clemens started, I think, like maybe 3 years and on both ends.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Maddux.
All right.
Yep. I wasn't confident, but that's correct. More stolen bases, 514. Bonds or Jimmy Rollins?
Ooh.
That's
this might be a trick question because they might want you to think it's Rollins because he was known for being fast. Bonds did play forever, and he stole a lot of bases early. I would say him.
Yep, that's correct. More strikeouts, 2,813. Mussina or Palmer?
Ooh. Palmer, I think.
No, it's Mussina.
Really?
Of course, we missed the one Orioles question. Doubles, 725. Pujols or Musial? Former Rochester Red Wings, Dan Musial.
Two guys who had ridiculous stats for a long time. I have no idea.
Yeah, if you look at Pujols' baseball reference page, those first 10 years are just mind-bending. I'll say Pujols. It's Musial. More home runs, 563. Reggie or Manny Ramirez?
Ooh, that's a good question because the steroid guys, I feel like people don't remember how many they ended up with. And
Yeah,
I
I think
couldn't
this is
tell you how
Reggie.
many Manny has.
Remember Manny was a Tampa Bay Ray for like 2 games.
I don't think I remember that, no.
Yeah, he failed a drug test. He was just like, I'm going home. It's Reggie. Okay. More hits, 3,384. Miguel Cabrera or Albert Pujols? I already missed Pujols once.
I think it's Pujols because I remember Cabrera getting 3,000 like pretty late in his career.
That's true, yeah. Yep, Pujols is correct. More saves, 390. Eckersley or Fingers? We got 30 seconds left.
I would say Fingers because Eckersley started a good amount.
Nope, it's Eckersley.
Dang.
Complete games, 303. Nolan Ryan or Gaylord Perry? I actually heard Nolan Ryan's Baseball 100 yesterday.
I would say Perry.
I think it's Ryan. Okay. It's Perry.
Okay.
More RBIs, 1537. Mantle or DiMaggio? I heard DiMaggio's too.
DiMaggio.
I think it's DiMaggio. Yep. 11,195 at bats. Jeter or A-Rod? And I saw the answer.
Probably Jeter.
Yep, that's correct. More shutouts at 49. Drysdale or Koufax?
Ooh, Koufax didn't play long, but he dominated. Didn't Koufax retire when he was like 30?
Yeah.
I don't know how long Drysdale pitched or how... I know he was good, but I don't know if he was... I don't think he was Koufax good. That's a hard question. I don't know. No, I just looked up Koufax. It was not him. He had 40 shutouts in, 12 seasons. Drysdale had 49 and 14. Okay, so he didn't play that much longer. I guess Drysdale was better than I thought.
Wasn't Drysdale an Oriole?
No. He was a Dodger his whole career. But he led the league in strikeouts 3 times. Wins once. WAR twice. WHIP once. Won 1 Cy Young. 9-time All-Star. He died in Montreal. That's interesting. I want to figure that out. Did he coach for the Expos or something? Oh, yeah. He died after working the broadcast for the Dodgers and Expos in Montreal.
Where's the damn quiz? Yeah, it was Drysdale. And that was it. We finished 7 of 12. 58%.
Okay. Could be worse, but there's plenty of room for improvement there.
And what's important is we learned some things.
Yeah. What did we learn?
That we can take with us for future quizzes.
I'm trying to think of the ones we got wrong. So Drysdale, we got wrong. We got Pujols Musial wrong. We got...
I closed it. I can't go back and look.
Eckersley wrong. We got Mussina and Palmer wrong.
Yeah, that's the one we should have had.
Yeah, we should remember that. That's what I'll remember. Mussina had more Ks than Palmer.
One thing we do need to learn is who's your player of the week?
My player of the week is just Sugano again because he's good and the rest of the team isn't. I guess Kramer's been good, but Sugano is my guy.
Maybe Matt Halliday's dad. That would be a good one.
Jackson Holiday's dad? Or Matt
Halliday's. Yeah.
Jackson's grandpa.
Yeah. I gave mine to Naquil Cruz, a 26-year-old Cuban left-hander that the Orioles signed this week. He'll be reporting to Aberdeen when the move is official. I have to imagine, though, at 26, he'll probably be fast-tracked I wouldn't be surprised to see him in Norfolk at the end by the end of the season if everything goes well.
Could be. Well, he could also be terrible for all we know.
I already like him more than CNL Perez.
Right. He's probably not any worse.
Does he have a baseball reference page?
How do you spell the guy's name?
I think it's Naykel. He has a page, but there's nothing on it.
Anyway.
Oh, here they are.
Ew, you know, I Googled it and that one of the school shooters came up.
Oh. 7-2 and 23-24, 3.24 ERA, 16 games, 16 starts, 3 complete games, 83 innings pitched, 61 hits, 30 earned runs, 58 walks, 73 strikeouts, a 1.428 whip.
I have no clue what those numbers mean in the Cuban League.
Oh, yeah. They're just definitely not.
He's only 6 foot 185 though, so he's not like a Batista coming in throwing. Well, assuming he's not, he might be.
Yeah, I know absolutely nothing about him. I got bullpen vibes just off the picture I saw of him.
Right.
And Media Corner, I blew mine on the Pete Rose doc. Baseball 100, I'm still working my way through. I mentioned I went to those Admirals games. I did reactivate my Max subscription because we need to watch the Righteous Gemstones, the Rehearsal, and Hacks. So I'll have Max for the next 2 months probably till we blow through those series.
Nice.
You ever see The Rehearsal? It's nuts.
No, is it a show or a movie?
It's Nathan Fielder
from
okay. Nathan For You.
No, I don't. What's it about?
He just I don't even know how to explain it. He creates a reality for these people and manipulates it. It's kind of bonkers.
Did you ever watch that show Jury Duty?
Yeah, that was fun.
I liked that show. It was also kind of a weird concept, but I liked it.
That guy has an agent now and stuff.
Well, yeah, because he turned out to be a nice guy. If he was an asshole, and everybody would have forgotten about him, I think.
I might have, if that were me, if somehow I ended up in that position of that guy, I might have known it was a setup because one of the, I think she was a witness. She played a witness, is a comedian named Lisa Gilroy, who I am aware of, who appears on Comedy Bang Bang all the time.
Okay.
And another guy, I don't know his name, but he was the weird guy who was trying to get out of the jury duty by saying he was a racist and stuff. He's a comedian too, who I've seen before. I don't know his name, but he's pretty funny.
Yeah, I didn't recognize any of them, so.
And then the judge's dad was, the judge was played by Ike Barinholtz's dad.
Yeah, I remember Ike Barinholtz. What was he in? I know he's been in a bunch of things, but
he's been in all kinds of things.
Was he in Eastbound for a season or something?
I don't think so.
No,
he might have been. I remember Ken Marino was on Eastbound. He played the TV host.
Oh, it says he was in Eastbound.
Okay. Was he a baseball player then?
Yeah, I think he played a Russian or something. And he had this accent the whole time.
That guy who used to follow Danny McBride around was so funny. That
Stevie
loser guy
Janowski.
Yeah.
Yes, that guy was hysterical.
That was one of the best characters of the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Or however long ago that show was on.
Yeah. I actually don't even know if I watched the last season of that show. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, you should. That might be a treat for you. We watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and somehow we just completely missed the latest season. And it was oh shit, we got a whole season of Sunny we can watch here.
Nice. That is a fun surprise. It's like finding money in your pocket.
Yeah.
Trying to think if I watched anything.
Hockey playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so. I was trying to think if I watched any movies, but I don't think I finished anything. I read a book this week called The Cook Up by this author named D. Watkins. He grew up like on the streets of Baltimore. He co-wrote Carmelo Anthony's autobiography. And it's kind of crazy how much of their stories kind of overlap. A lot of wild shit if you're a white dude from the suburbs who's not used to that stuff. But it was interesting for sure.
Yeah, Carmelo was a fun basketball player. He's not. I don't think he's going to be remembered as good as he was, just because he never won. And the NBA is real big on you got to have a title.
Yeah, I kind of get it more in basketball than other sports.
Yeah, because there's only 12 guys on a roster.
Right, and like you can give the ball to a guy whenever you want to, more or less.
Yeah, you can manipulate the game,
right,
so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, right? Orioles got day off Monday. Twins at home. Who's after the Twins?
Twins and I want to say Nationals. Yep.
Do you think anything substantial will happen this week in terms of like a Perez DFA, a Hyde firing?
I will not.
I don't see anything.
I will not
happening.
say that until something happens. I will not say that I think something significant will go down.
Yeah, I think they're just waiting for these injured guys to come back. Like that's their whole plan.
Right.
Well,
we'll see.
We'll be back next week before any of these injured guys come back. So thanks for listening, everybody.
Yep. Take care, everyone. Go O's.